Hi, I'm Scott Ludlam, and I'm really happy to be launching Full Circle, A Search for the World That Comes Next, available right now and published by Black Ink. The book has been in the works since mid-2017, when I suddenly found myself with a lot of time on my hands and also a lot of questions. So I set off for 12 months of travel to meet with campaigners and activists and global greens organisers all over the world to try and get some perspective on what I'd been working on here in Australia. I'd been part of a movement that went up against the most powerful lobby groups in the country and passed world-leading clean energy laws. 2 years later, the coal and gas industry had them demolished, and Australia seemed to be settling into a form of state capture. So one of the purposes of the book is to set that event into its proper context, how state capture actually works, and the foundations that it rests on, and most importantly, what the hell to do about it. When an industry sector has captured your politics, it means elections stop working the way most people think they do. And as it turned out, pulling on that thread opened up all these other lines of inquiry that I'd been wondering about for years. So in this book, you'll get to meet the most incredible people in India and Mongolia and Kenya and Japan to hear what they have to tell us about our present moment. We dive into the various disciplines of systems theory to see what they tell us about cycles of rebellion and transgression through history. What exactly is it we're up against and how is it wired? And behind all that, if we're to frame up an effective politics of climate justice that's actually up to the task, the planet itself needs to have a place in that story. I was stuck for a case study to try and make sense of how all these things collide, and then suddenly we found ourselves in the middle of a bushfire emergency that rolled straight into a global pandemic. So Full Circle is the result. It's an attempt to understand these questions better, or at least to be bewildered in a more interesting way. I have come through this with a renewed sense of hope and purpose, which I hope is evident when you read it. I hope you love this book, and thank you for taking the time to give it a read.